Grip fighting is so important, and whenever you can use something stronger than your hands to reinforce that grip or break the grip, as Mark did with the gi there, even better. So we've got Mark in the black and Darius in the green. Going to roll at the end of class, so they're both like, well, we're all fairly tired. You can look at my face here. It's a little bit battered. We've had quite a few backwards and forwards. There's been some games and some rolls, and we've been going over a few techniques. Good training session. So since I saw these two getting stuck into it, I thought, what an opportunity. Let's record and see how we go. Mark has been training for around the 18-month mark. He's, I'd say, blue belt level. I think his actual rank is 4 stripe white belt, around that kind of like 18 months, a fairly consistent training, 84, 85 kilos. Darius is probably about 10, 12 kilos lighter. He's been training for only 1 month, but his proprioception and his natural ability to understand where his body is in space and react in the right way is phenomenal. So definitely give him that edge, the edge on that sportsman movement, if you like. I think he played ice hockey for about 15 years or so. He's a sportsman. So yeah, I knew this was going to be interesting. So there's a few cool things that I picked up here, so stay tuned. So first of all, here I'm actually quite happy with the level of grip fighting going on between these two relatively newer practitioners. What I'm not wrapped on is I would like to see Mark getting like one of his legs back so that he can apply more weight. Maybe he's being a little bit nice. We are a little bit tired at this stage, so maybe he's being a bit nice there. But bringing those two knees up, he's allowing Darius to move there on the bottom. He's tried to step over into mount. That was a little bit of a lazy step over, and Darius has done a great job at catching that, which and then wrestling up, like catching the head and wrestling up there is fantastic. I actually spoke to Darius after the class here. This is a perfect spot because Mark is leaving that elbow out for Darius to throw his right knee in and sit back onto his hip and catch an arm in guillotine. So yeah, he's got plenty of time. See that big opening? He actually has a pretty good go. I think it's like some sort of a truck entry there, but his foot wasn't in between Mark's feet. So as you can see, he accidentally pulled the bottom of side control. A bit of a nuisance. Yeah, Mark is rolling nicely and keeping his weight off, as I thought he might have been there. So he's trying to take the back there. That's cool. Like he's doing like a great job at locking things up, but a lot of new people go for the sub too soon rather than looking at the position first. So because he did, Mark, being a little bit more experienced, was able to get his back offline. So even though the sub was quite tight and Darius did have a good lock, because his back was offline, it made it quite easy for him to wriggle out, get over those feet, and then start to like work into a passing position. And worse than that for Darius, he's now on the bottom, and because he was tired from that, his knees came away from his chest, and then Mark was easily able to pass into like a pinning position again. And you can see here that he's knowing that they're both tired, and so he's able to like jump straight into like that north-south kind of position and lock up a Kimura. And you've heard me talk about that so many times and how much I love that position, and he's done an excellent job of getting there. See, yep, that was beautiful. Very nice, very nice. Teabag Kimura. Horrible position whenever you're in it. So we're back to the start there. Darius pulls guard, which I'm actually kind of surprised that he did that, because he is quite an athletic person, and athletic people tend to be like a lot more happier to wrestle or that kind of thing. So it shows, well, a little bit of fatigue and also a little bit of willingness to play the game and trying to like figure out what he's actually doing. He actually did quite a good bit of work there in getting past the guard, and then he got reversed by Mark there. It was, a bit more dexterous feet and a little bit more experience, so he was actually able to capitalise on that position and then put him back in the bottom of side control again. Those extra kilos help as well, but you can see, to Darius's credit there, him not actually letting him get the whole way over to mount, framing like hands together, keeping those elbows off, and then reversing the position. Absolutely fantastic. The elbows being tight and keeping the inside position is what has allowed him to like get that reversal and then come back on top and be able to get himself back into a passing position. Lack of energy on both parties here is making it far more obvious as to who has got like the most technique, who has put in the most time on the mats. Here, I'll talk about this here because you can see Marc is on his right, or he's on his left side. If he kept that grip and just worked, like unlocked his legs and used his right leg to get himself onto his left side, he would have actually got that Kimura. Or in Darius's corner, if he'd been able to use his toes to get his hips high, he would have been able to forwards roll out of that because it wasn't actually locked up that tight enough. And being the smaller person, that would have worked into his favour. You can see he's working for a triangle here. Darius is not being wise enough to it there.
Change or whatever. I will say that after the class, we had a bit of a chat.
That was absolutely
one thing that I noticed that made a big difference for these guys, and of course, it's really, so I kind of go on forever about years into my own training, is that keeping yourself safe, maintaining like a good, sometimes posture, but a lot of the times it'll be inside position, allows you to get yourself out of a bad position, off balance the other person, or even set up your own attacks. So looking for like keeping your elbows tight and your knees tight, keeping safe, maintaining that inside position. From there, once you start to get your head around that, from there you're able to expand your game a lot more and begin to like work on those attacks and all of the fun part of jiu-jitsu. So that's my thoughts on this roll. See you on the next one.